Welcome to Maskaxda Healing. I have Jadika, you said? The letter?
Yes.
Okay, Jadika, yeah. Welcome to my podcast. I loved your holistic practice on the mind and body connection. And, I want you to share that practice with my audience. I think with, pain, stress, I love mindfulness. That's one thing that I really love. It was interesting to look at how, mind and body connection. And if you want to just explain your credential, your experiences, and the work that you do.
First of all, I want to say thank you for having me as a guest on your podcast and to share information with your listeners. I am a holistic health and wealth practitioner. My specialty is pain relief using the power of touch. And one of the things that I focus on specifically is the mind-body connection. And that is the foundation that leads to relieving pain and stress, because pain and stress go hand in hand. You don't have pain without stress, and you don't have stress without pain. And in order to relieve it, you have to connect the mind and the body. Because in all forms of healing, it's the mind-body healing process. And so most people do not understand when I say pain-stress connection in terms of what that is. And basically, what that involves is whenever you are in pain, it's connected to some kind of stress. And the stress is always something that happens outside of your body that you bring inside. And we never think about that. But whatever you bring inside that's stressing you out, if you don't find ways to release that, then it automatically goes someplace in your body and uses that as a way of trying to release, which eventually becomes a health problem because it's inside your body and can't come out, and it's trying to come out. And so now you start to feeling and experiencing pain. But that's a connection between how the mind and the body are working together as it relates to the pain and stress that's working together. So you have to bring them all in unison so they're working together collectively and cooperatively. And so that's what I do. I focus on dealing with people's pain. And the pain is not just physical. It's mental, emotional, spiritual, and even financial.
Carries because a lot of people don't know that all the challenges that we go through, that work stress, family stress, all of that, like it creates tension through our body, like you were saying, the mind and body connection. Can you just explain to us the process of what, a person coming to you, like how would that go, like the process of them going through that practice with you?
Okay. Thank you. That's an excellent question, and I'll take you through the whole process. Think about this. If you're in pain, there's only one thing that you are concerned about, and that's relief. You want relief from pain. So like when you go to a store, you know exactly what you want to buy, so you'll go down the aisle and make your purchase of what you want because you know what you want. So when you come to a practitioner, you're coming to a health practitioner for one thing that you want. You want pain relief. But what happens is when you go to a practitioner, and especially when we talk about allopathic conventional medicine, you go to the doctor and you say, oh, I'm having serious pains in my back. And, it's really bothering me and I want relief. So you're going to tell the doctor that, and the doctor's going to say to you, first and foremost, we need to do some tests. And when we get the tests back, then we'll know, then we can put a treatment plan together to help relieve what it is that you're having. But in the meantime, here's a prescription for the pain. But we don't even know what the pain is and what's causing the pain, but now you get a prescription. So what I have spent the bulk of my career as it relates to pain is putting together the concept of how to relieve pain first before treatment. That's what I do. So when my clients come to me, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the first pain relief technique that is called touch. And the first touch pain relief technique that I do is listening. Listening is the first touch approach to relieving pain. Now, what do I mean when I say that? What I do is I allow my clients to talk to me about what's going on with them as it relates to this pain experience that they're feeling and all the things that are contributing to it. What I'm listening for is what is the stress factor that's connected to this pain. And while they are talking, they are also listening to themselves, and they are actually hearing themselves talk about the stress that's connected to the pain. Once they have connected or feel the relief of just being able to talk to somebody to relieve that pressure, now we're able to look at what I do, which is the next touch factor is what I'm going to do now to relieve the pain first before we get to the treatment. And that touch is going to be reflexology, which is my specialty inside my healthcare practice. And I'll explain about what that all is. But what I'm saying is I listen first, and then I look at what is it that's going to relieve the pain, because that's what you came to the practitioner for, how to relieve the pain first. And the reason why I do it that way is because by me listening for the stress factors, I now can say, if we're going to look at treatment, does that mean that we may need to look at your nutrition? Does that mean we may need to do a referral to a chiropractor or acupuncture? It's an integrative approach. Or you may need to go to massage therapy. Or does it mean that you need some energy work? Do we need to look at Reiki? Do we need to look at meditation? Do we need to look at yoga? It's a combination of things that's related to this particular problem that's causing pain, which I call the integrative treatment approach, because there's no one therapy can do it all. We have 11 systems of the body, and each system requires something specific that it needs that will address the pain. So that's the overall approach in terms to when someone comes to me, what I'm focusing on first and foremost is relieving the pain first and using the power of touch as the technique to get the process started.
Mhm. Yeah, so the multi-approach, I like that because, like you said, there's not one, therapy or one way because everyone's different and there might be different approach for, depending on the person. So, and I like the holistic part of it where you said, you first listen for that pain and you make sure that you're actually doing that patient-centered, what that
Yes.
person needs instead of what Western medicine does a lot. So, yeah. And then I was gonna say with your credential, you said that you're gonna go more into explaining. I think you have a PhD, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
what I saw on your email. Yeah. Do you want to explain more about your credential and how
Well,
you got into this field?
well, okay, I'll give you my humble beginnings
Okay.
in a short abbreviated version. My career in the field of health began when I was a child. As a child, I wanted to be a doctor. And the reason why I wanted to be a doctor was because back then, doctors came to your house. We didn't go to them. They lived in the neighborhood, so made house calls. So the doctor would come to your house, and as a child, I'm seeing this, I'm saying, oh, wow, that's what I want to do. This is a healer. I want to become a healer. So fast forward, I get to school, and I finally got to school and found out that I was not going to learn how to be a healer because that's not what they were teaching. So I said, okay, let me change careers. So from that point, I became a social worker, and I spent the whole gamut from dealing every phase of social service, working from infants to seniors, the whole gambit. And while doing that as a career, I discovered that everybody was going to the emergency room for their health care. And I said, something's not right about this picture. I have to see what I could do to understand and change this. And that was happening at the time when alternative and complementary practices were opening up and coming on the scene. So then I went back to school and got, my training to become a naturopathic practitioner. And when I got my PhD, I focused specifically on natural health and the cultural integration in terms of healthcare. So that's how all of what I call the alphabets came into place. But the essence of it was I knew the reflexology, which is my expertise, and I just added that to my naturopathic health practice. And the whole research and study that I have done in terms of what I do goes back to the mind-body connection. And to be able to help your listeners understand what that is I work specifically focusing on relieving pain via the nerve endings, because the nerve endings are connected directly to the brain. The nerve endings are the message distributor. It's the line of how the messages go from the brain to all of the organs and cells inside the body. And when you're in pain, what happens is the nervous system or the nerve endings have sent a message to the brain. There's trauma in such and such an area on the body, and you need to release the body's natural pain relievers to relieve and bring relief to that area that's in stress. But when you take medication, what happens is you numb the nerve endings. So now messages is not flowing through. You've numbed the nerve endings, so the only thing that's happening is you don't feel the pain at that particular moment. Then when it wears off, the pain starts back again. So if you keep numbing the nerve endings, the body's natural pain relievers does not get the message to come and relieve the area inside the body, because the nerve endings are not able to communicate with the brain because it's numbed out. And so that's the dilemma. And then you wind up becoming addicted to the medication. And if you don't become addicted to the medication, you wind up now with new health challenges. That's the gambit. And so what I focus on is, what are the alternative ways that we can relieve pain without using medication as the foundation for pain relief. So that's like, my evolution story
Yeah.
shortly in terms of what I do.
Yeah. Thank you for explaining more into what your credentials are as well as like your backgrounds. And then the part I was gonna kind of follow up is you said it's so pain, is that more like focused on physical pain? I know that you said also mental pain, but with like for people that need medication, like you know how we talked about multi having that holistic part of whatever that person needs. Do you also work with that person to or encourage them to also connect with their doctor, but then you as a person holistically help them too? Even with therapy, I think sometimes combined different types of treatment is
Mm-hmm.
helpful for people.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't feel discouraged that they need to be in a hurry to get off certain medication, but they can
Mm-hmm.
also do other things or kind of check out other therapies and see how that helps them as well.
Also, it's a good question. And for your listeners, I'm not advocating do not take medication. That's not what I'm saying. What I focus on specifically is medication for pain, finding alternatives for pain only. Because other medications may very well be part of your treatment plan. And if it is working, you need to continue using it. My whole emphasis is on the fact we start talking about addictions, and addictions are usually the result of pain medication. People are addicted to pain medication because of the fact that they are stuck in the process, because you have people who've been on pain for years on top of years
Like
and do
opioid.
not exactly, and do not know what it even feels like to not to be ever be in pain. And so that's what I focus on specifically, because if you can focus on finding alternatives to pain medication, it can kind of minimize you moving into health challenges that are caused by being on pain medication for so long. That's the other piece that we don't talk about in terms of I'm working on relieving pain, I'm taking the pain medication, but it's also having some harmful effects inside the body, because now the body has to deal with then putting up the defense mechanism for the pain medication that's affecting something else in the body outside of numbing the nervous system so you don't feel the pain. So you have all of this going on inside the body. And because we don't connect with the mind and the body in understanding its operations, it causes us to not have the optimum health and wellness that we are supposed to have.
I get like the explanation part of for that person to find alternative ways to deal with pain. And, I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of people, like you said, yeah, addiction is a big thing, especially with opioid. And, like even a person knowing if they're higher risk for addiction, they have to kind of talk to that with their therapist or doctor. But just if they're at risk for, addiction, that might be where they can be like, okay, what else can I try?
When we talk about addiction, it does not necessarily have to be the medication or the physical addiction. We can deal with food. We can deal with negative thoughts that we've turned into an addiction in terms of our actions.
Yeah.
We can deal with things that we are obsessed with and can't break away from. And that's when I talk
Like
about,
TikTok, that's how I feel right now.
you know,
I honestly feel like I get a lot of dopamine from TikTok, so, like, that's one of,
and
yeah,
those are
yeah.
things that you put a whole lot of time in because it's relieving something. That's an addiction. And that's where we talk about finding other alternatives to calm the nervous system down so that your body can take a breather. That's when I talk about addictions. Things that you just, I have to do this every day. I have to do this all the time. And you don't replace it with something else that can be an alternative. And that begins with using the power of touch.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. Is there anything that you wanna share with the audience? I will link your website
Hmm.
and other information. Do you have social media as well?
Yes. Hmm.
Okay, yeah. So I can link them, but is there anything else you wanna let the audience know? Someone yeah.
One of the things I would like to share with your listening audience is no matter what your health challenge is right now, be it mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, financial, know that you are in charge. You can take that control of your life from whatever the pain or stress is that you are experiencing. But it begins with two things, two basic things that it begins with. The first one is being thankful. Give thanks to who you are. Give thanks for the day that you're in. Give thanks for all of the things that are happening. Be thankful because of the fact that it's called the game of life. Every day we wake up to a new lesson, which is a game of life. It's something for us to learn and be thankful for it because even if it feels challenging, once you get through it and get over to the other side, that means you've learned that lesson and now you're open for a new one. The other thing is, as you give thanks, be grateful. Wake up every morning being grateful for the new day, for whatever is coming. Being thankful and grateful is what's going to help you get through the pain and stress, specifically in terms of all that's going on right now. Yeah. And the thing that I can tell everybody, do not get caught up in the 24/7 doom and gloom that your eyes are seeing now, because that is a big stress factor that you will eventually start internalizing. And when you're internalizing it, you now create a pain stress problem that will become a health challenge in the end. So, what I'm saying is that focus specifically on finding positive solutions that feel good to you. It's got to feel good to you, not anything I say or anything any practice, something that feels good to you. Find some time to let the little girl and little boy inside of you come out and play and enjoy life to its fullest. Before we end this, I want to say I come to you because in the African tradition, when you come to someone's home, you don't come without bringing a gift. And I have a gift for you and your listeners. I have what is a medication-free pain and stress relief poster with tips that you can utilize in
Oh,
terms
thank
of
you.
finding alternative solutions. And all you have to do is go to touchology reflexology.com and download the poster and let that be a starting point for you in terms of whatever pain or stress you may be feeling. And I leave you all with this one food for thought. The power of touch heals all.
I love that. Oh, thank you so much. I will
My
definitely look into
pleasure.
that tips. Yeah, thank you for sharing. And the point that you made about, like gratitude, like even the hard times, I think like gratitude helps us. Like there's a lot of research about, how gratitude improves our physical as well as our mental well-being. So like the part you said, what feels good to you, what heals your inner child. That is something that I've been working on last year with my therapist. So, yeah, I'm glad that you also brought that up. Thank you for the tips as well. Anyone listening, I'll put your link to your website. Please connect if you're interested. And you said you do virtual, right? Yeah.
Yes. And also, you can go to my website, which is focusonhealing.com. And when you go to the website, by all means, go to the contact section, write down any questions or anything that you may be feeling about pain relief. I will get back to you because I love hearing from you and also being able to give you some support and encouragement where needed in terms of options related to medication-free alternatives and relieving pain.
Thank you so much. This was, yeah, an amazing discussion, and feel free to always message me if you have anything sharing with, to share with my audience, or if you want to cover specific topics. Yeah.
Thank you for having. It's been my honor and my privilege.
Yeah. Take care. It
All
was nice
right.
meeting you. Bye.